Hello, I'm Kara and welcome to Kara Tarot. This is 5 on Deck, a series in which we expand our knowledge of the meaning of the cards by comparing the same card found in 5 different decks. I'm a little bit behind the curve, and this is due to the eclipse that I'm focusing on the Moon card this week. When I saw the Moon card in the black deck, the one in the center of this picture, you'll understand why immediately I thought of the eclipse. My looking at this card was concurrent with the eclipse, and so of course I thought I should do the Moon. The cards pictured here are the Rider-Waite-Smith deck, the Elemental Tarot, the Black Tarot, Influence of the Angels Tarot, and the Feng Shui Tarot. Before I begin reading from the little white books that come with the decks, I want us to just take a moment and look for similarities across all 5 cards, because that's one of the things we're looking for by doing this series, is to find commonalities in the different interpretations. So, of course, we have a moon in all 5 of these cards. In 3 of the 5 cards, we have visible water in the imagery. In 3 of the cards, we also have mountains in the background. Of course, the 3rd card in the middle I didn't include in the water imagery, although that deck is so surreal and so open to interpretation. The black deck could very easily be said to have water underneath, or perhaps these phases of the moon are actually being reflected in the water, and those are the waves that we're seeing around it. As we look at the last card from the Feng Shui deck, not only do we have the moon door or the moon gate that we're looking through, we're inside looking at that. We also have a figure in the boat that has a lantern and a staff, even though it may be a rod for maneuvering the raft. We have to think for a moment, perhaps that is the hermit that we are seeing going towards the moon and towards the mountains in the distance across the water. The Rider-Waite-Smith card and the Influence of Angels card have some sort of creatures coming out of the water. Now, the moon is always associated with water because the moon influences the tides. So it's very interesting to see these ideas of the creatures in the water also representing the subconscious. It's very clear in the Influence of Angels card that these are dragons in the water, and the angel seems rather oblivious to them. The Elemental Tarot shows a mask over the moon, almost a sort of an eclipse. But then we have the shadow of that mask reflected on the stairs below, which has a wavy effect, almost like water. So we have various creatures in many of these. We have water in many of these, the moon in many of these, mountains in the background. So those are some of the common themes throughout. If we want to look at the color symbolism, the middle 3 have the darkened blues that we associate with nighttime, or black as the case may be in the center. On each end we have brighter colors. We have the moon literally reflecting the sun's yellow light. And on the card on the right, the Feng Shui card, we have the red door, that door of, is it power or is it menace? So we have some different color symbolism going on. The red moon gate is contrasted with the very cool aqua blue of the water. That aqua blue is also reflected in the elemental tarot on the stairs, again looking wavy like water. The giant Rider-Waite Smith deck has a very minimal little white book. Here's what it says about the moon. In the upright position, hidden enemies, danger, calumny, darkness, terror, deception, occult forces, and error. Reversed, instability, inconsistency, silence, lesser degrees of deception and error. So a little better turned upside down, but still overall a quite negative card in the Rider-Waite Smith deck, which all of the other 4 decks are based on. The Elemental Tarot has several systems going on at once. If you notice the blue, almost egg-shaped dot at the bottom of this card, that is one of the 5 elements that this deck works with, separate from the element of the particular suit. And those 5 elements are earth, air, fire, and water, and spirit. This blue dot represents spirit. So that's telling us that that is something essential for the moon card in the interpretation in this deck. The moon is given the name illusion, with a quote on the card: "I am the one whose image is great, and I am the one who has no image." The moon in this deck is associated with inner experience and the soul. This deck is by Carolyn Smith and John Astrop. In a reading, the tides of our great oceans are moved by the moon, and so, of course, are our emotions. In choosing the moon, you are unleashing all the power of her symbolism, and in keeping with her fluctuating nature, there are many different ways of interpreting her meaning. Sometimes she shines with clarity, and sometimes her image is obscured. The moon is all illusion. The light of the moon is the reflection of the sun, and to interpret this symbolism, you must look carefully at current events and examine whether they are as they appear. Though there is always some deception with the moon, it does not necessarily mean disappointment. Sometimes it can be hiding love and shyness rather than deceit and fraud. What it means here is that something hidden will soon be revealed. This card, in the meaning of this deck, is associated with the unconscious self. Quote, "I am not able to see the whole of the picture. There are hidden things that cannot or will not be revealed. I am deceiving or being deceived." End quote. The black deck has a little white book that says it is based on the tarot interpretations of Arthur Edward Waite, but modified, expanded, and edited by Philip Young, Ph.D. The moon represents the feelings we need to explore and express. The moon as an archetype is the 18th encounter for the Fool. It illuminates our deepest feelings so we can understand the emotional framework that gets reinforced, suppressed, and shaped by our family and close relationships. The symbolism The phases of the moon represent the changing emotions humans experience as part of numerous cycles, both monthly and yearly. Upright, dreams, positive emotions, intuition, and soul purpose. Reversed, delusion, nightmares, negative emotions, and despair. The Influence of Angels Tarot Guidebook by Jody Baginski-Barbesi and Karen Baginski. I'll take a moment here to say this is possibly my all-time favorite tarot card out of all decks. I just love the representation in this deck. The little white book that goes with this deck talks about the symbols that are shown in the card, and then it talks about direct meanings, and instead of reversed meanings, it makes a distinction. It says there's a direct meaning, the reversed meaning would be the opposite, and then they have what they call a shadow meaning or a subconscious meaning, which is particularly appropriate for the moon. And then each card in this deck has an angelic message associated with it. The symbols. The moon comes out at night, which is the other side of day. The moon exposes things that are usually hidden or in the dark. Water. In the context of this card, water represents the subconscious and the illogical parts of the mind. Creatures in the water. These creatures are the creepy things lurking in your mind. They represent primitive, uncontrollable, and mostly unknown parts of yourself. They symbolize your, quote, shadow self, end quote, the dark parts of your personality that are hard to accept and acknowledge. This suggests self-deception because it's difficult to admit that they are real. These scary critters also represent fear. The angel amidst the creatures. Elamaya is portrayed on the card as a sleepwalker. With her arms pinned inside her garment, she can do nothing to stop the creature's nipping and harassment. The scene represents dreaming and the subconscious mind. Direct meaning of this card. Feeling confused, distressed, or troubled. Anxiety and fear. Disturbed or distorted thinking, irrational. Delusion or self-deception. Shadow meaning. Tapping into the unconscious, becoming aware of something that is usually hidden or in the dark. Letting go of conscious control. The angelic message for this card. Ignoring the cause of your anxiety will make the anxiety worse. Confront the darkness so that you may see what parts are real and what is delusion or fantasy. Instead of reading from the little white book for the Feng Shui Tarot by Eileen Connolly and Peter Paul Connolly, I'm going to go directly to the larger book that was published to go along with the deck that could be purchased separately. The book actually is still available while the deck itself is out of print. The moon. The dominant element is fire, and the direction is south. The jagged mountain peaks on the horizon represent the fire environment. The placid body of the water creates the water site. This is not an auspicious combination of elements. The occupant of this site could be perceived as arrogant or interfering. The introduction of the moon gate in the foreground serves as a controlling element. Consisting of earth, stone, and mortar, the moon gate wall and steps can be considered to be of the earth element. In the degenerative cycle of elements, earth pollutes water. Therefore, the presence of the moon gate tempers the threatening element water, alleviating the imbalance. The figure in the moon card has set out on his own with a small lantern and the light of the full moon to guide him. He seeks to be less dependent on others. He intuitively knows it's time to face his issues of insecurity. Out on the water alone, he must quell his fears and trust a higher consciousness. And I will interject here again. Notice the similarities to some of those features of the figure with the Hermit card. And this book gives a core aspect for each card, a reversed core aspect, a contemplation, a reversed contemplation, a directive, a reversed directive, and a thought trend. Core aspect. You discover how easy it has become to rely upon your sharpened intuitiveness. You are beginning to be more perceptive and find that you are now in the throes of a spiritual transition. The consciousness feels inundated or compelled to explore further and develop this potential. Learn to trust your own feelings. You could be right. The reversed core aspect. This is not a good time to take risks. Hold back from commitment until you see that the way is clear. To speak your mind could damage a relationship or negotiations to date. Wait till the right time arrives. You will know. The more you keep your control, the better the end result. The contemplation. Trust in self and follow through. Intuition guides what to do. Reversed contemplation. Keep in control and wait a while. You will have the winner's smile. Directive. 1. The influence of the moon pulls the consciousness to a deeper perception. Learn to trust your own feelings. Much is happening behind the scenes. Avoid involvement and intrigue. 2. With changing energies around you, stay firm. Take an independent approach and be forthright, especially if you do not want to be involved further. The reversed directive. 1. Imagination can run away with you. It is not the right time to be taking any unnecessary risks. It is too early to arrive at conclusions. Emotional reaction or judgment should be put on hold. 2. Patience is the answer. Holding back your point of view will prevent misunderstandings. Keep equilibrium intact and move forward. And finally, the thought trend for the moon card. Excellent time to collect your thoughts and ideas together. The influence of the moon always has an element of surprise. Eventually, you will realize that the developing energy is inclined to be beneficial for you. Patience is the key. Your time has yet to come. And I'm going to have a couple additional readings about the moon card. First, I will have some excerpts from the incredible book by Annabelle Wen, Holistic Tarot, an integrative approach to using tarot for personal growth. This book is intentionally constructed to be a rigorous academic approach, so in that aspect, it may not be for everyone, but I think it's magnificent, and I think Annabelle Wen is absolutely brilliant. And this book and the study that is created to go along with this book is based on the Rider-Waite-Smith deck. The moon. A reflection of the inner self is emerging. The moon represents the shadow of the self, the unconscious mind, repressed weaknesses. It suggests that the accumulated repercussions are now causing the seeker's shadow to surface and affect the self-conscious. Facets that have been repressed or are latent in the seeker are now emerging and influencing the present consciousness. There is a tension between that which has been repressed and that which is in the present consciousness, and that tension is a source of the seeker's problems. The theme of the moon is constant change, duality and dichotomy. The tame side and the wild side are at odds. Intuition is strong. There may be secrets. The reversed meaning. The seeker is in a state of confusion. If the seeker is asking about his or her career, there is uncertainty. If asking about love and relationships, it is a highly volatile and emotional period. There is instability. Invisible pulls from the external are affecting the tides of the seeker's situation to the seeker's detriment. There is a risk of misunderstandings in the relationship. If the moon appears in reverse and the seeker is contemplating a high-risk move or venture, they should be advised not to take it. The seeker should be as conservative and stable as possible right now. The moon in reverse suggests great fluctuations, high risk of harm, confusion, and inconstancy. Therefore, the seeker needs to find a way to lower the risks for the matter at hand. Again, these are merely excerpts from the meaning of the moon card from Holistic Tarot by Benabel Wen. And finally, I have the moon card description from a really wonderful website, labyrinthos.co. That's labyrinthos.co. The moon keywords: upright, illusion, intuition, uncertainty, confusion, complexity, secrets, unconscious. Quote, "The moon's light can bring you clarity and understanding, and you should allow your intuition to guide you through this darkness." End quote. Upright moon meaning. On one hand, the moon card can symbolize your imagination is taking the best of you. In the dark of the night, you are taking a path that you are unsure of, for there could be danger lurking in its depths. You are the crawfish embarking on the path in the card. The moon's light can bring you clarity and understanding, and you should allow your intuition to guide you through this darkness. You need to be aware of the situations that are causing fear and anxiety in your mind, whether it is now or in the future. It alerts you not to allow inner disturbances and self-deception to take the best of you. These deep memories and fears must be let go, and the negative energies must be released and turned into something constructive. Another reading of the moon card is the existence of illusion. Some hidden truth must be discovered, for what you are seeing now may just be a trick of the light. You must search for the hidden forces that must be unraveled. This website with each card meaning gives the upright meaning, and then a love meaning, a career meaning, and a finances meaning for each card in each position. I'm just going to be, again, reading an excerpt, the main position. So now the keywords for the moon card reversed: fear, deception, anxiety, misunderstanding, misinterpretation, clarity, understanding. The reversed moon meaning. A moon reversal in a reading can sometimes indicate that the darker and more negative aspects of the moon are present in your life. It could represent confusion and unhappiness. You want to make progress, but you are not sure what is the right thing to do. You must deal with your anxiety and fears by overcoming them, for they are like shadows in the dark. It is time to believe in yourself and move forward. My note here, that phrase, "it is time to believe in yourself and move forward," appears in many, many descriptions of the reversed moon card. Continuing on, The moon reversal meaning indicates that you are in an intuitive period or that you have recently battled confusion, anxiety, and self-deception. It could be that you are misinterpreting how you've been feeling. However, you are starting to improve on this. Another reversed moon meaning is that the forces of the night that were bringing you confusion are starting to dissipate. You have started managing your fears and anxiety. Whatever negative energies you have been facing are slowly fading away. It represents a liberating experience as you discover the positive side of things. And those were 2 excerpts from the website labyrinthos.co. It's not .com, it's just .co. I hope this has helped you to think about the various meanings and shades of meaning in the mood card across 5 different decks, and to help you kind of coalesce what this card means for you, and also to see how the various artistic interpretations shade the meanings given to the cards within each deck. That's 5 on deck. I'm Kara, and this is Kara Tarot. The readings and the music are performed by me. If you're enjoying this series, you can make a direct donation at paypal.me/Kara Dahl Russell. This is a labor of love, and any small donation will help support the content of this channel. I hope you're enjoying it, and as I often said with my lectures about music history, if you get one kernel of information that sparks something in you and means something to you, then I've done my job. I hope this is meaningful to you. It is to me. Thanks for joining me.